If you've been around my channel for a while, it's likely you know about my Roblox Fighting Game, Ability Arena. This project was technically cancelled a few months back, but in actuality, my current project, as seen in my YouTube shorts, is essentially a rework of that original idea. If you've never watched the original Ability Arena devlogs, first of all, don't. They're really bad. And second of all, you probably don't know what that original idea is. Ability Arena was essentially going to be Ability Wars, but better. As said in that original masterclass of a joke I made 9 months ago. Holy crap, my YouTube channel is 9 months old. Anyway, this was essentially Ability Wars with the combat of a battlegrounds game. This was my first major Roblox project, and so it was questionable. Such as, instead of using a normal M1 system, like having 4 moves do normal attacks and that 5th move doing a heavy knockback attack, every attack inside had knockback, so the combat was incredibly scuffed. The abilities for the most part weren't that bad, but they were also just basically attacks that did slightly more damage. Except for the few outliers, like the fire attack that used to do a fire effect that was very buggy. I'm not even gonna get into how absurdly broken both the knockback and parry systems were. I tried for a long time to iterate on this original project, gradually changing and improving combat, like fixing the M1 system, making it closer to a battleground so you could do things like combo now, or changing the incredibly broken shop system that I had previously made. I even removed dashing, but none of that could fix the inherently messed up systems in the game. So, I started a new project from scratch. The idea? Ability Arena but classic Roblox, so it was essentially Forsaken as a fighting game. The combat was actually much more fleshed out than Ability Arena, having a full moderately competent ability system, M1s like a battlegrounds, and a somewhat working parry system, though the game definitely still had issues with messy hit detection and scuffed animations. This game went through a lot of iterating compared to the last one. The first one was known as Brick Battler, that being this original concept I just explained. Eventually it evolved into a fighting game based on comment ideas, which I made a now deleted YouTube short series on. That game was called Battle R, spelled just like I just showed it on screen. I then realized I subconsciously stole the name from Fighter, a classic Roblox-inspired platform fighter, so the name was temporarily reverted to Brick Battler, though I kept the concept of being based off fewer ideas. Eventually this concept just became stale and fully uninteresting, since I wasn't putting any creative input in it myself, so it just got scrapped. The final form of this project is what is now known as Project Rift, the current game I'm working on. This game, if you haven't seen my recent shorts, is a crossover fighting game with completely random unrelated characters in it. The combat in this is by far the best I've been able to do. I made a competent M1 system similar to a Battlegrounds game, a good dashing system with a parry system attached to it, or more like a dodging system, but it kind of worked aside from Roblox server latency. And even all of the skills worked pretty well, well, the few I implemented. The major issue was just with balancing. I really like fast-paced fighting games like Wuthering Waves or Zenlesszonezero, but those are PvE-based games, and the dodging and dashing systems from there just don't work in a PvP setting. At least not with Roblox abhorrent servers, like I said earlier. Since stuff like perfect dodging can't be competently done, it was insanely laggy. At least with my skill level, since I could just be doing inefficient math to calculate everything like Forsaken does, which makes everything really laggy. This project was in a good state, but I now am completely remaking it from the ground up, as I've been doing major changes to the combat system. I was originally just going to modify that game, but these changes were just way too drastic. I've now completely reoriented how this game is going to work. Instead of just having one character selected at a time, you'll now choose a duo to use. This duo can be literally any character for the sake of variety, but gameplay is now going to revolve entirely around that core mechanic. Since there are now 2 characters, I'm able to do a fully working class system with DPS, tank supports, etc. If this reminds you of anything, it's inspired by Zenlesszonezero, Wuthering Waves, and Genshin, because those are games I play a lot. The other mechanic used to make this game more unique is the relic system, inspired by both the trinkets in Dandy's World and echoes in Wuthering Waves. Like I said earlier, definitely very inspired because I've been playing it a lot recently. This system allows you to equip either a stat buff or an extra move to use on field, overall giving you a ton ton more gameplay variety, which I think will improve the game immensely. The combat in this game is also being changed pretty drastically. Instead of keeping a generic battlegrounds field, there are now different types of M1s. You click to do a normal attack, which won't break blocks or anything, but will still do a decent amount of damage and is just very fast, and hold to do a heavy attack, which is more powerful and can break blocks, but when you're fighting against something like a dashing character, they can dodge way faster since your heavy attack has to charge up for a minute. I'm also playing around with an aerial attack system, but that's kind of iffy because of how Roblox works in general. The final major gameplay change is with the defensive systems. I've decided to relocate different types of defenses to different characters. For example, tanks will be able to block and supports will be able to dash. Well, depending on the support. I'm sure tank support hybrids will be a thing. I'm still just figuring out all the class labels, so this stuff is subject to change. Aside from all of this, the only other thing is, like I mentioned, a new class system, which isn't very outlined right now, but I do know some of the characters' classes. Like, for example, the Batter, the only completed character from my original game, is going to be a tank DPS hybrid. Aside from that, no characters are really outlined, aside from the back Minecraft Steve from the Minecraft movie, which is going to be a real character. I told you guys this game is very random. It's going to have a crafting table he can place that will buff the damage of the other person on the field. This is just about all I have concepted, and I'm currently working on actually getting this game finished, so I'd expect some devlogs about it soon, though I'll also likely do some other videos, as this is my big long-term project, and this will take a while to get updates out for. Make sure to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see my other content.